Let's talk about instant versus delayed gratification. These things are what determine your life quality, how your life is. Instant gratification, delayed gratification. The more and more you choose one or the other, the more and more your life will either get worse or get better. So let's talk about them. Instant gratification. What is instant gratification? Instant gratification is the activities that you do that give you instant pleasure right now, but lead to long term pains. You give you discomfort in the long term. Delayed gratification is working hard right now, experiencing discomfort right now for the pleasure of your future, for your future pleasure. So what most people do now is they indulge in a lot of instant gratification because now in the modern world it's become so available, so easy to access, so comfortable to access. The reason many people go towards instant gratification is because it's comfortable. Like social media, playing video games, you know, like smoking, drinking, like binge eating. Back in the caveman days, if you wanted to eat some food, you would have to go harvest crops, or you'd have to go and kill a boar, kill an animal, and then eat its flesh, eat its meat. Right? That's how you got food. That's discomfort preceding that. You had to endure discomfort to go and kill that animal, hunt down that animal, cook its meat. But now in 10 minutes you get food delivered to your doorstep from like Uber Eats or whatever delivery apps that you can use. So now, like more and more technology that's coming, like they're eliminating discomfort. Discomfort, like they're trying to eliminate discomfort altogether. But discomfort is required for our growth. As men only grow with discomfort. Men, women, everyone, humans only grow with discomfort. When we're comfortable, we don't grow. We actually go the opposite way. So we need to eliminate comforts because comforts are what making our life worse. Binge eating. Binge eating is the best example I can give you for instant gratification and its consequences. Eating junk food, right? Which many people, or maybe you are doing right now. Maybe you scroll too much on Instagram, and we'll get to that. When you eat junk food all the time, when you're just snacking on junk food, eating junk food all the time, you probably feel like the normal home cooked food doesn't taste so good. Right? That's because right now you're getting so much pleasure from this junk food that your brain, right, when you get pleasure, it relates it to your previous experiences. So if you're eating some food, it's going to relate that to your previous experience. It's going to relate to your recent experience. If you're eating home cooked food and you just had like processed food junk food from outside, you ordered some food, that might taste better than this food. So when your brain relates it back to that, you're going to get less pleasure from it. You're going to get less of that dopamine hit. So you're not going to feel as good. And when you continue eating this junk food, right, your dopamine levels are going higher and higher when you keep eating it. But then once you're done eating it, your dopamine levels actually drop. Your dopamine levels drop below the level at which it started. It gives you this dopamine deficit. So the more and more you indulge in this pleasure, you're supposed to get happier. But what happens is your dopamine level decreases over time. It decreases and decreases and decreases. And dopamine is what makes us feel pleasure, makes us feel happy, makes us feel motivated. And when we don't have dopamine, when our dopamine levels become low, it's like throughout our day we're less motivated, we're less happy, we're less joyful. You know, some people who are just so happy and they just walk around in their day, they're just so happy. That's because their dopamine levels are high. They're complimenting everyone, they're laughing, smiling, having a good time. Their dopamine levels are high and your dopamine levels are here. Both of you in the same situation would act so differently. If you had low dopamine and someone else had high dopamine, right, and you're eating the same food, you're eating the same meal, right, he'd be so much more joyful and happy about eating that. You know, he'd be laughing, he'd be smiling, he'd be complimenting the cook. And you'd just be eating that thinking, oh, this is not that great. Like, you're just going to be kind of depressed, you're not going to be able to enjoy it properly because of your past experiences, your recent experiences. That's why it's so important that we don't indulge in instant gratification too much. It's important that we don't continuously binge eat junk food because we are depriving ourselves of feeling joy in the world, in our everyday lives. And the same way, Instagram. When you scroll on Instagram, right? Every single reel you watch, you're getting this dopamine spike. And if you look at a graph, this is your baseline, your normal, like your regular level of dopamine. The dopamine's always flowing through your body, circulating throughout your body, and that's the level at which it circulates. When you watch Instagram, right, every single reel, your dopamine levels peak, and then after you're done with that reel, it drops below the baseline. This is your baseline, and it drops below the baseline. Just like when you eat junk food, and your dopamine levels keep dropping. The more and more reels you watch, the more and more peaks you get, and the more and more and more your dopamine drops. And you get a peak, this is your baseline, it drops here. And now you know your brain doesn't like that. Your brain doesn't like it when when your dopamine drops below baseline. It wants to keep it above baseline or at baseline. So you feel this discomfort, agitation, pain. You know how, like, if the internet goes while you're watching a really interesting video, or like somehow you're forced to stop what you're doing when you're watching something really pleasurable. When you're scrolling on Instagram, you're like suddenly you have to stop. Your mom's calling. You have to go do this chore. You feel discomfort, don't you? Feel agitation. So what you do is, that's why you can't stop after watching one reel. You want to keep continuously watching more and more reels, because you don't like this deficit state. So your brain tries to increase that dopamine, and the way you do that is by scrolling more on Instagram. That's not achieving what you want. In the long term, your dopamine levels are reducing, even though in the short term you're getting this peak. In the long term, your dopamine levels keep dropping. The more and more you do this, the lower your dopamine levels go. And in your life, when you're going about your day and you're doing things, maybe fun things, you're not able to feel as much joy, because you're relating that experience to your experience of watching reels. And watching reels is a very enjoyable, very pleasurable experience compared to like going for a walk in the park, maybe playing some football, and going and playing some sport. And watching reels is so much more enjoyable. And so when you relate this experience to watching reels, you're not able to feel as much joy, because your brain only reacts to, like, your brain always relates your experience to your previous experience, your recent experiences, whatever it is. So you're able to feel less joy in the world because your dopamine levels are so low. Right? The same way I gave you that example about two people eating the same meal. It's the exact same. When you're eating junk food, when you're scrolling on social media, playing video games, it's all reliant on your dopamine. It gives you so much dopamine in the short term, but in the long term, your dopamine keeps on decreasing. When you keep eating junk food, you gain fat, you're not healthy, maybe you start mouth breathing, you're not healthy at all. Right? You don't look healthy and you're not healthy as well. So we need to live this healthy life. We need to go towards delayed gratification, because let's say you and I both live 70 years. You could live those 70 years eating junk food, not exercising, not living a healthy life, scrolling on social media, playing video games. 70 years. Right? Those years in your life, they're going to be such poor quality, isn't it? Because of all these things that you're doing, you won't be able to feel much joy in those years. And the more and more time that passes of you doing these bad habits, the lower and lower your dopamine levels will get. And at one point, right, that's why so many suicide rates are so high now. Because when your dopamine gets so low, you have no motivation, no pleasure. And motivation is what gives you drive to get up out of your bed early in the morning and go and do something. Like, go and work on this thing, go and work on that thing. When your dopamine levels are so low, you're so depressed, you have no motivation, drive to do anything. That's why, like, when you're depressed, you don't even want to go to the kitchen and get some water. So even the smallest tasks feel impossible for you, because without dopamine, you have no motivation. And without motivation, like, we're not able to get up and do anything. So stay out of this path. And your 70 years that you're living, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And the life that you're living is just going to be absolutely horrible. You're going to be in depression. And that's why when your dopamine levels get so low, you have no drive. You feel like you have no purpose in this world. You can't do anything. All you're destined to do is just lie down and watch reels, scroll on Instagram, right? And that's why people suicide and stuff, because their dopamine levels is going so low, and these modern technologies, they help it. They don't help it really, because they're the ones that's creating these depression and like this mental health crisis that we have. Mental health crisis, almost everyone is depressed. Maybe it's slight depression, maybe it's major depression. In any end of the spectrum, everybody's there in that spectrum now, except the few people who chase delayed gratification. Because now delayed gratification is so different from instant gratification. You're living that 70 years that I told you, full of instant gratification. Your life is so bad. Like the quality of life in those years is really horrible. Like I heard a quote once: "Put more life in your years." Like you're trying to put more years into your life, put more life into your years, put more happiness, more joy, improve the quality of the years that you have in your life. That's what you need to be doing. Improve the quality, and when you're healthy, when you're healthy, you don't do any of these habits, instant gratification. Like you're not continuously engaging in that. Your dopamine levels are not low. They are at baseline. They are above. It's at a good healthy level, so you're able to feel joy. And whenever you do have an experience in life, if your recent experiences are not so ultra like dopamine gratification, instant gratification, like highly stimulating activities, you're going to be able to enjoy everything so much more. Unless you're not doing some insanely like insanely stimulating activity, watching like TV shows, scrolling on Instagram, playing video games for hours a day. If you're not doing all that, everything that you do in your life, in your day, is just going to feel so much easier and so much happy. You're going to feel so much happier. You're going to enjoy doing the things that maybe you didn't before. Think back to when you were a child. You used to enjoy just running around playing, playing with toys, whatever, because at that time your dopamine levels were pretty high. But now what we see is with almost everyone, as they grow older and older and older, they don't like playing anymore. Old people are just so serious all the time. They just don't smile or laugh that much. And I feel like these modern technologies help that. The modern technologies are creating that. Because almost everyone's dopamine levels nowadays are so low because of all the Instagram reels. And I really want to create this movement where people stop watching Instagram reels, playing video games, because it's just so bad for you. You need to learn about it. You need to see how it's really affecting you, because everything that you do in your life, it's in your brain. And you can be in any situation, but if you're strong enough, your brain is strong enough, if you have enough motivation, drive, it won't stop you. Right? But when you do these instant gratification dopamine activities, you become docile. You don't want to work hard for anything. Just think about video games. Right? To be in a war in real life, you have to train, you have to go through this training, and you have to join the navy, and you have to go through so much training and discomfort. But now, with video games, you don't need any of that. You just download this game, Call of Duty, you start shooting people. You're in a war, basically. So it's just everything that needed so much hard work and discipline before has now become easy. But they don't yield the same rewards as they do. These rewards are virtual. They give you nothing in this world. They give you more pain in this world, but give you more reward in the game. But when you go through discomfort, which is delayed gratification, going through discomfort right now, right, for pleasure later, for rewards later, in your life, in real life, not in some video game. Not in some video game that just can get deleted one day. Right? Your rewards are here to stay in this life. And the only thing that you need to think about leveling up is real life. Because nothing else really matters. What's video games? Right? It's like a virtual world that some developer has created. You have this real life. You want to level up in this real life. You need to level up in this real life. So you need to choose delayed gratification. You need to work hard for your future self's happiness. Your future self, if you do instant gratification activities, is going to hate you. Because now you've left him with all the consequences of your actions. All your binge eating has made him fat. Has made him unhealthy. But you're having a good time. You're like having so much pleasure. And before you know it, this becomes an addiction. This becomes such a big problem for you. You're not able to live without it. Most people are not able to live without Instagram reels. As soon as they get bored, they go on their phone. As soon as they have a hint of boredom, they go to their phone. So boredom is dead. Boredom has been declared dead since the invention of the smartphone, since the invention of social media. I haven't had Instagram on my phone for months because I see the problems with it, and you need to as well. Especially Instagram. YouTube is fine. There's so many good things that can come out of YouTube. And there's so many, like, you're watching this video. This is a good thing that you're doing. You're trying to improve your life, and YouTube is helping it. But Instagram Reels, even YouTube Shorts, don't watch YouTube Shorts because it's giving you so much dopamine, more and more and more. And like, you're just reducing your dopamine levels in the long term. When it comes to delayed gratification, you go to the gym. You have this discomfort right now, but a few months down the line, you look at your physique and you're so much healthier, you're so much happier, you're looking so much better. And if you want to create more happiness, more joy, this is not the way. I hear people like, I was telling someone about like, you should need to stop eating junk food, you should not eat like this. And then there's this other guy who was eating a lot of junk food. And he told me, like, yeah, he's just enjoying himself, right? But are you really? Or has it become a dependency for you? Eating 2 burgers at McDonald's, has it become a dependency, or are you doing because it feels enjoyable for you? Or do you do it because you can't live without it? Because for a lot of people, that's the outcome of these instant gratification activities. And with the delayed gratification was the only thing before. Like back in the caveman days, right? Or even back in like 100, 200 years ago. There was no instant gratification activities really. The only thing was like drugs. Right? But now these drugs have transformed themselves and they're now in our pocket. Social media, Instagram Reels. Anytime that you want a dopamine hit, you go on and scroll on Instagram. And that's the limit. See, in drugs, there's visible consequences right away, right? There's visible consequences. The society looks down upon it, so it's harder to do it, even though many people do, and it's an easy source of instant gratification. But now, the socially acceptable thing is to Instagram. Everybody I see on the street is looking at their phone. On the train, they're looking at their phone. In the car, they're looking at their phone. In social, family gatherings, they're looking at their phone. This is not the life we should lead. How can you enjoy the life that you've been given if you're just always looking at your phone? And few years down the line, you'll see the consequences of your actions. Depression, low mood, no motivation. You're going to be fat. You're going to be unhealthy. All because you've gone into this instant gratification. That's why we need to now start implementing delayed gratification. Going to the gym, doing hard work. Because just like I told you, right? When you get those peaks of dopamine, you get this deficit. Your dopamine levels falls below baseline. But when you go through discomfort, your dopamine levels dip below baseline for a while. And then once you're done doing that uncomfortable thing, like going to the gym, once you're done going to the gym, the dopamine levels increase above baseline. Your dopamine levels increase above baseline. And the next time you're eating a meal, next time you're going for a walk in the park, your brain is going to relate that experience to this recent experience, which is going to the gym, which is uncomfortable, right? When it does that, the walk in the park is going to feel so much more enjoyable. It's going to feel so much more enjoyable. Playing with hanging out with your family, just eating home cooked food that your mom made with so much love. All these small things that you used to not feel like were so important, you didn't feel that much joy, and you're going to start feeling so much joy. Because your brain is always comparing your experience in the present to your recent experiences. So instead of your recent experience being this highly stimulating game, this video game, right? Highly stimulating game, you're going to have this experience. Your recent experience is going to be uncomfortable activity, going to the gym, going for a run, taking a cold shower, like whatever it is. And you're going to feel so much happier being in that moment, that present moment, that it's going to feel so much happier. You're going to feel so much more joy. So make sure you always go through delayed gratification, because this is the real happiness. When you do instant gratification activities, you feel joy, you feel pleasure. But pleasure is not happiness. Happiness is this inner peace, like you're able to feel happy no matter what situation you're in. You're walking around the street and you're able to smile. because you're just happy with your life. You just look around, you see one tree, and you're like, "Oh, that tree looks so nice. I want to take a photo of that tree because it looks so nice. I feel so much joy." You're going for a walk in the park and you think this is a really nice walk. The wind feels nice, the trees look good, the path is made right, and all these things, right? You'll be able to feel so much joy in the present moment when you stop doing these instant gratification activities. You probably felt like kind of sad, kind of, if you have low mood, you're frustrated, and it's because you're doing so many of these instant gratification activities. And this trains your brain to seek out discomfort when you do these delayed gratification activities more and more. But that's a problem I see. No one goes to delayed gratification. No one wants to experience discomfort. They want the most comfortable task possible. And that leads them to being unhealthy, being fat, being depressed, being anxious. Because the comfortable path is easy. And why wouldn't you take the comfortable path? But without discomfort, your life won't grow, you won't improve, you won't be happier. Because without discomfort, what are you even doing? What's your purpose in this life? You need discomfort to make yourself feel happy. You need delayed gratification. And when you do these delayed gratification activities, going to the gym, your future self is going to start loving you. So he's going to think, I love my younger self. I'm so grateful for my younger self for going through this hard work and getting me to where I am. And that's the most powerful thing you can have when you want to love yourself, when you want to have a better state of mind. Because if you hate your younger self, you're not going to feel good about yourself. You're not going to love yourself. Right? And when you don't love yourself, you start harming your body. You start eating junk food. You start scrolling on social media. Right? Now that I've gone through this process, right? I've gone through delayed gratification. I've been doing delayed gratification for so long. I've tried cutting out all these instant gratification activities, eating junk food, sugar, social media, scrolling on Instagram. I'm still not perfect like any other human being. But my life has gotten so much better. And because I love my younger self now, I'm so grateful for my younger self for staying away from these instant gratification activities. I'm able to look at some food like this junk food and say, I love myself too much to eat that. I love myself too much to harm my body. I love my body too much. So I just end up not doing it. It's easy to not do bad habits when you pursue delayed gratification, when your mental health is much better. The delayed gratification is crucial for your mental health. Instant gratification deteriorates your mental health. But delayed gratification deteriorates your mental health. But delayed gratification, right? Delayed gratification, it improves your mental health so much. Like so much. And you're able to feel happier, and when your mental health improves, your bad habits just sort of go away. Because your bad habits are not the problem, they're the symptoms of the real problem, that is mental health. Your mental health is a real problem. So you need to go ahead and fix that. And I have a video on my channel, a full guide on mental health. That should be your priority. So to make this transition from this instant gratification life to this delayed gratification life, you need to start slow. You need to start making changes slowly. Don't try to cut all instant gratification out right away, because you're going to fall back into it and you're going to feel bad and you're going to quit. Okay? I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm not telling you to stop doing these instant gratification activities right away, but I want you to slowly start reducing them. Do you scroll on Instagram for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day? Tomorrow try to make it 4 hours 45 minutes. Try to do 15 minutes of a delayed gratification activity. Right? Try exercising for 15 minutes tomorrow. Try exercising for 10 minutes. Try to implement in delayed gratification activities like doing cold showers, right? Exercising and eating clean. Just a little bit in your life, and just slowly start implementing it, a little by little, and slowly start reducing your instant gratification activities little by little. If you have 4 junk food meals a day, try to just eat 3 junk food meals tomorrow and have 1 healthy meal. Just force yourself to do this. And when you make changes slowly to your life, you're giving your self-image time to adapt. Because your self-image is linked to everything that you do. Your self-image is the product of your actions. All the junk food that you've eaten, that's your self-image now. The person who eats junk food, who doesn't exercise. To change that, and your self-image, it creates your actions. It's what you think, it's what you feel. Like, you're gonna have thoughts that align with your self-image. So when you see junk food, you're gonna have thoughts aligning with the person that you are, the person who eats junk food. And you're going to get these urges to eat junk food. But if you change that self-image to someone who's healthy, who does exercise, you're going to get the urges to stay away from junk food and eat the healthy food. So what you need to do is give your self-image time to adapt, to change. The way you do that is by slowly bringing in changes to your life and not shocking your life with all this change at once. So stay on this path, slowly start implementing good habits, delayed gratification activities, and slowly start reducing the instant gratification activities. And you'll realize, before you know it, like in a few weeks, you'll just think, how have I gotten this far? You're gonna be surprised with how far you've gone, how far you've reached. I was like that too when I implemented this tactic, slowly implementing good habits and slowly removing the bad habits. I was surprised too. In a couple of months I looked back and I thought, how did I even get out of that? How did I even stop doing those activities that felt impossible to quit? It's because you're incrementally, slowly changing your life. And that's the only way to do it, slowly. Because if you try to do it all at once, it won't work. Because your life, when you shock this much change into your life, this is your self-image. And if your life goes up to here suddenly, your self-image doesn't have time to go along with it. And you will always fall to the level of your self-image. No matter how good your life is right now, you will always fall to the level of your self-image. So make sure your self-image is at a level which you don't want to fall to. Right? If someone who goes to the gym, if an athlete, right, his self-image is that of an athlete who eats clean, who goes to the gym. On his worst days, he's still going to go to the gym, eat clean, because that's where his self-image is. Even when he falls, he'll only fall to the level of his self-image. So make sure your self-image has time to adapt and improve. And slowly your life will change and you'll realize how much joy there is to be experienced in this life, in this world. And you'll never look back.